All right, what's up, YouTube? It's the Run and Gun Sports Podcast here with our first video. And basically, what we are is a podcast YouTube channel that talks about sports, mainly the NFL. Today, we're going to be going over the 2021 Wildcard round. It's going to be a review, and we're just going to go into depth and layer and just talk about what happened, what went wrong for some of these NFL teams in this wild card weekend. So, to start us off, we got the Colts and the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills win this one 27-24. Really, for the Colts, I mean, not much. Just they do have a bright future. They have a pretty young team aside from Philip Rivers. I mean, definitely uh, Jonathan Taylor. Really, man, he's gonna be one of the stars in the future. And this defense really good, but they're just missing something. And me personally, I think that's the quarterback, Philip Rivers. I think they need to part ways with him and find a new quarterback. Maybe if that's Carson Wentz, I mean, they could get some of his old fire back, and things could work between in that system. They just need to switch something off if they want to make a deeper playoff push next year. But there's a lot of future potential for that team. Definitely. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They got their defense is good. They're young. DeForest Buckner, huge
Hmm.
get for them this year. You know, um, um, Naheem Hines, great running back, great young
Definitely.
running back.
There's some
Jonathan
great
Taylor,
running backs.
probably one of the better rookie running backs. I don't know if there is anyone better than him. Um, Besides maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he's he's a great running back. I was fortunate enough to have him on my fantasy team this year, and that he was awesome. And he's young, and it's good to see him do well in the league. So moving on to the Seahawks Rams game, I think a lot of that was. I don't think necessarily the Rams won the game. I think the Seahawks had lost that game. What went wrong for them was just they didn't play in the first half. They just looked bad. Russell Wilson the last 3 weeks cannot throw a deep ball to save his life. I think the communication has been off between him and Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. Um, I respect that guy to the fullest. He's always reliable no matter what. He'll make a big catch when needed. I mean, we saw last week or two ago against the 49ers where he caught the game-winning touchdown pass. And, he'd been quiet all game, but it's it's those type of people that you want to build your football team around. It was terrible, and um, it seemed like they wanted to run the ball on first, second, and then pass it on third and 8, 9 with against a
It
very good Rams defense.
really you're forcing Russell Wilson to make plays on every third down that he cannot do against this Rams defense.
I mean,
And
the Rams
yeah,
the Rams are the top rated defense in the league. You have Aaron Donald, so many other guys, Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey. Everywhere you look on the field, there's a playmaker out there, and I could go on for days and
definitely.
naming them, and all of them are, I think, they could all be all pro. That's the best defense in the league in my mind, and
Hmm.
um, it's tough to do that against. Russell Wilson is no stranger to being a great quarterback, but that's a huge ask to do against a great defense. So, it's challenging. I think our defense did not play well at all. They just didn't play inspired, and you had Wolford in for the until he got hurt. Um, Obviously, you hope the best for him, but he was driving down the field on him, and obviously Wolford's an NFL quarterback, but it's not. He's not the starter or anything. He doesn't start it, and that's kind of embarrassing for a Seahawks defense. Jared Goff comes in with a hurt thumb. He balls out. I mean, against a Seahawks defense who had been playing pretty good the last few weeks against the 49ers. We did good in the first half, but we didn't have help from our offense. And a little bit happened this week, but I think a lot of it went both ways. There's no one you can really blame. But the mental mistakes were just terrible. We just looked like a JV team out there, and um, obviously the news came out today that Brian Schottenheimer had been fired, and I personally agree with it. You know, we've been mediocre the last couple of years. After a Super Bowl, it just seems like the organization has been satisfied with just winning a Super Bowl. And obviously a tough way to go out of a Super Bowl was the Malcolm Butler interception on the 1 yard line. But you know, you, there's fans out there who want to win more, and I think definitely we have Super Bowl talent. It's just some of it may be coaching, and I'm maybe it's not Sean, and maybe it's
Yeah,
Ken Norton Jr., maybe it's Pete Carroll.
there's
You don't
just
know,
there's
but
got to be changes because the Seahawks have been like one and done in playoffs since they've lost that Super Bowl, and I mean you just got to switch something up. So we'll see what happens with the Seahawks, but
yep.
we'll move on to the Washington football team versus the Buccaneers. Final score was 31-23. Bucks favored. Um, and for the Washington football team, I mean, with the team for a team with no name, this team's got a lot of potential.
I definitely agree. I think they have one of the more brighter futures around that defense. It's a strong defense line, strong linebacking core, strong DBs, and they have probably one of the better defenses in the NFL. They're up there with the Rams. They could hang with them. Um, their offense isn't there. It's tough having like plenty different quarterbacks, 4 or 5 this year. You go from Kyle Allen to Alex Smith to Dwayne Haskins, and then you cut Dwayne Haskins. The distraction that he caused on the team. It's unfortunate, and
Yeah,
don't like to see that. But I think I definitely agree with the move by Ron Rivera, and my utmost respect for that guy, Ron Rivera. He's
what a
literally
story.
battled through cancer this year, and he took his team to the playoffs. I mean, even him being out there, even if they lost every single game, I still have a ton of respect for that dude.
Yeah,
He took He's a great coach. He took the Panthers to the Super Bowl, and I think it won't be the last time we'll see him in the playoffs. And just huge, so proud of that guy for just fighting through cancer
really.
and leading his team to the playoffs with all the drama around Haskins. It's just incredible. But Taylor Heineke, he showed out. I mean, that was a great performance by him. When the pocket collapsed and he was in danger, he knew what to do. He looked like he had been playing the whole season, and it's it was
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool to
guy's
watch because
he's
no
got a
one.
future.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree. He could possibly be the next starter for Washington. I mean, he knows what he's doing out there, and it's good to see a guy like that get a chance. Not always getting backups in that show out. And you could see he had confidence. You don't see that many backup quarterbacks. But he had some confidence.
yeah, definitely. And then moving on with the Buccaneers, they're going on second round of playoffs, of course, and we'll talk about that Saints matchup in our next video. But yeah, it's pretty strong showing against a pretty good defense, and I think this team they've been hot these past couple weeks. They definitely have what it takes to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, they can easily beat the Saints. I mean, they have all the opportunities to beat the Saints. And then I think they match up really well with the Packers in the NFC Championship if everything plays out.
Moving on to the Titans Ravens game. That was a bad game for Derrick Henry. I'm a huge fan of him myself. I know Elliott is.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough to see him do that, but at the same time, you can't have your game plan around one guy the entire game. Tannehill looked good in the first half. I mean, they were up to 10-0 lead, but you gotta there's 2 halves to the game, just like the Seahawks, man. Seahawks didn't play the first half, they lost. Titans didn't play the second half, they lost. You know, Lamar Jackson had a good game rushing, and I think that's gonna be the key to success for the Ravens if they're gonna continue.
Mm-hmm.
Let Lamar do his thing. Um, his receiving core is not very good. He's Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. Um, but when in doubt, just let Lamar do what he does, and you hope that
Definitely.
it's not just him running the ball every play because that's it's not going to work. We saw what happened last year. I mean, they got beat by the Titans, but I think they're a good team, but I don't know how they match up against the Buffalo Bills this weekend. We'll
Yeah,
talk about that next
that's
episode.
gonna be tough. Definitely. So we're just gonna move on to the Saints and Bears game already, and aired on Nickelodeon. That was fun. Got the slime in the
Definitely
end zone.
slime.
Yeah. But the Bears lost this one. I don't think anybody's super surprised. A couple people were pulling for the upset, but I don't think the Saints were gonna choke this really. They did last year against the Vikings, but the
Yeah,
Bears they went 8-8. They're just not that sharp of a team. There's a lot of missing factors for this to be a strong playoff team. Honestly, I don't think they're gonna go with Trubisky or Foles next season. I think either if they sign a quarterback in free agency, maybe they get like Deshaun Watson from a trade or something. I don't know, or they try and go for a late pick and they try to draft one. I don't know. They need something on this team. The defense, though, yep, that's a strong defense. We've talked about that with the Washington football team, Rams. Both those teams have futures. So does this team. Um, if
yeah,
they
I
if they make good decisions in the offseason. I mean, yeah,
I definitely agree. I think the Bears have a huge, strong fan base, and they're going to be looking towards you know probably it might be time for Trubisky to be done. You don't know until you know. I mean, he's um, he's obviously had great seasons. I think he came in and did well at the end of the season this year. Obviously, made his team get to the playoffs. Um, so and Mooney and Robinson are definitely great young talents. I think they can do big things in the league, but it's easy to write them off after seeing them in a with a bad quarterback. I mean, anyone with a bad quarterback um, isn't that good. I mean, you have the Jets and you have Jamison Crowder. He's a great player, but Sam Darnold may not be the best quarterback. That
hmm
it's easy to see Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf. Um, a huge connection there because those guys are so good. But with a guy like Trubisky or Foles, so inconsistent. It's tough on a receiver because you may not be getting the stats you want, the target you want. It's hard.
yeah. So yeah, for the Saints, obviously moving on here. They will play the Buccaneers. Talked about that matchup. There are some problems on the Saints team. I mean, I don't. They have a pretty good defense, and they have a good offense. And the only problem is that those both those sides of the ball they don't tend to play well at the same time. So some games defense will be playing really good. Some days the offense will be playing really good, and you can't do that if you want to move super far in playoffs. And like I said, they've been they've been beaten in the playoffs for past 3 years, and they've looked like amazing in the regular season. They go like 13-3 or 12-4 to be beat in the playoffs. It's heartbreaking to be a Saints fan. I could imagine, and they really got to step it up if they want to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm not sure that they have what it takes. But
I I definitely agree with you there. They they gave the Bears a shot in that game. So
definitely,
many, and it's just you can see that the Bears are so close to being a playoff contending team that can compete with. I mean, the Saints are probably top two in the league with the Packers
yeah,
for NFC teams, and they're right there with them. They just something there. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know if it's the players. You know, obviously the drop touchdown by Denzel Wims was tough. Um, that's you can't really have that. That's right in your hands.
yeah,
Perfect play call there. You had him right where you wanted. The huge momentum loss. Huge momentum loss. In
definitely.
a game like that in the Superdome, you're playing at the Saints. You need those. You need
That could
those
have been a
breaks.
turning point, and if that
Big.
touchdown pass was caught, you don't know how that game would have gone. Bears could have pulled off the upset, but that drop, that incompletion, really, I mean, it really hurt them in the end. So Saints versus Bears. Saints come out. We'll move on to the Browns versus Steelers, and the Browns pull off an upset. In the first quarter, they scored 28 unanswered points, 28-0, and this was a shocker to the world, really.
Yeah. I mean, everything went wrong for Pittsburgh. I mean, from the first snap of the game, it reminded me of Super Bowl 48, Peyton Manning getting the ball snapped over his head for the safety. I mean, that's an unfortunate start for the team,
Yeah,
but there's 60 minutes in a game, and that's play takes 10 seconds. So I'm not going to say that's what cost them the game because they easily could have came back and won it, but they didn't. They just played flat. There was no motivation. The Browns played good. They had a good game plan. I don't know if their game plan was necessarily around them scoring 7 points on the first snap over Ben Roethlisberger's head, but sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. And for the Steelers, when it rains, it pours, and that's one of those teams.
Mhm.
Those their guys like to talk a lot on social media. The old juju, dancing TikTok stuff.
Kind of karma there. Not gonna say
It is.
anything, but yeah,
It is. It's just that kind of stuff comes back to bite you in the butt. It's an exciting time to be a Cleveland fan, man, and you know, I making it to a playoff game for the first time in 25 years to those fans. That's a huge deal. Just making a playoff game. I mean, it's like the same as the Bills. But both those teams winning it. I mean, you got some passionate fans in this season on the AFC side, and if the Browns and Bills played in the AFC Championship, I think it would be a great game. Just so much passion would be shown in that game. Just be such a fun game to watch. But the Steelers, they showed fight. They tried coming back, but you can't turn the ball over as many times as they did. And Big Ben's future is obviously in question, and you don't know how long he'll be playing for.
yeah,
This could have been his last year, and it's tough. It's just tough.
yeah. I mean, he was at the end of the game. He was crying. I mean, of course, your season's over now. After that 11-0 start, and you're one and done on the playoffs, you went 12-4, 1-5 after that. After you beat the Ravens back when you were 11-0, and it's a huge disappointment. It's a huge disappointment, and it that's just even on top of the fact that he's getting old and this might be his last season, and I don't know if he's going to come back to this Steelers team. I mean, we'll just see what the future has in stock, but Baker Mayfield and the Browns get the road win and really a crazy game for everybody to watch. And this Brown team, it's going to be a contender for years to come because they have young players, a young quarterback who uh, makes plays when comfortable, and this offensive line and this whole offense is making them comfortable. So, I mean,
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a young team. Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, and they don't even have Odell Beckham. That's the crazy part. You know, um,
yeah,
it's really impressive. And also, they had a bunch of players not playing in the game. Their head coach wasn't there. He was watching the game from home. I can't even imagine how excited Kevin Stefanski was. Um, you know, great coaching, great preparation, and I think that's what it was. You see the Steelers guys, and no hate to Steelers fans or anything, but they're out. They're always posting on TikTok and stuff. And, it's a distraction, and it's one of the negative things of social media is some people use it as a bad thing. But the Browns played a great game. Um, so congrats to them, first playoff win in forever, and
yeah,
great time to be a Cleveland fan.
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's gonna conclude this wild card weekend. Not the craziest wild card weekend, but there were some upsets. I mean, of course, Cleveland over the Steelers, and then the Rams beating the Seahawks. But yeah, I'd say pretty fun games to watch. Not the best wild card weekend, but that's 2020 for you. So this is the Run and Gun Sports Podcast signing out. This was our first video, and there will be more. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And also, if you do us a favor, like that video. There's going to be more videos coming out. So stay in touch. Peace out. See ya.
So, yep.